Good evening, my extended family. Good evening. It is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. I hope you all had a good night's sleep last night and that the day went well for you. Thanks again for letting me spend a few minutes with you this evening. I truly enjoy it. I hope you do. Before we get started, if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure that you don't miss a broadcast by hitting the subscribe button, click on the bell, and choose all so that you'll get a notification when a new podcast is published. If you're watching on Facebook, please feel free to share your own neighborhood stories. We all enjoy them. Or tell me, and I'll tell my version of what happened. I thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Every evening I like to start by reminding each and every one of you that you are wonderfully made, that you are loved and cared about by many, and that you have a lot to offer others. Please don't ever forget that, and don't ever get tired of hearing it. I like saying it. Helping people to lift their spirits is the main reason that I do these short broadcasts. I've been asked to offer my political views and thoughts about the current civil unrest, but I won't do it. Not here. It's not germane to this venue or in reaching my goal of helping people smile a bit. If, however, you feel you're up for the ride, and I do mean up for the ride, message me and I'll tell you where to go. I don't mean I'll tell you where to go. I mean, that sounded funny. What I mean is I'll direct you to a different YouTube channel where that discussion is welcome. I'm not going to tell you where to go. All right, let's get ready to travel. Where are we going to go tonight? What state are we going to end up in? The evening broadcasts come from a different state every night, and tonight is no different. So I need you to use your little kid imagination and try to guess as I give you the hints what state we're in. Tonight, the evening broadcast is coming from a state that was the first to pass a law allowing women the right to vote back in 1869. Women's suffrage, that is the legal right of women to vote, didn't happen nationally until 1920. The country's first female governor was elected to office here after her husband passed away while he was in office, and then she was voted in. This state is the least populous state in the United States, even less than Rhode Island, much less. And this state's a lot bigger than Rhode Island. This state holds most of Yellowstone National Park, which is the country's first national park. A funny fact is that as big as this state is, there are reportedly only 2 escalators in the entire state. But I bet you by 2 they mean 4, because if there's one going down, there's one going up. So if they're in 2 different buildings, I hate to think that there's just a downside. I don't want a downside to anything. The outlaw Harry Alonzo Longabaugh, a.k.a. the Sundance Kid, took his name from the town of Sundance here. And I almost just told you the state, where he was jailed at the age of 15 for stealing a horse. The official state animal is the buffalo. If you ever see a buffalo, though, don't go over and try to pet it, because buffalo and people, well, generally are not too friendly. For you movie buffs, you might find it surprising that for part of the movie Rocky IV was filmed in this state, not Russia as they made it appear. There is only one 4-year college in this state, or was it 4 one-year colleges? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? A 1-year college? No, it was one 4-year college in this state. Old Faithful, the infamous Cone Geyser. We had a neighbor we used to call the Cone Geyser. Located in Yellowstone is in this state. Old Faithful got its name. We had a neighbor we called Old Faithful. Got its name because of how dependable its eruptions were. The geyser erupts every 90 minutes. Nearly half of this state is owned by the United States government. I didn't know that. The state's name comes from an Indian word. Gene, you're going to like this. An Indian word that means the big plain. So maybe, Gene, you know what the state is. J.C. Penney, the store, opened its doors here in this state on April 14th, 1902. The state flower is the Indian paintbrush. The state's insect is a butterfly like other states, but this one is named Sheridan's hair streak. It's a symbol of spring is here in this state. How beautiful is that? One strange law that I found is that for many years it was illegal to take a picture of any wildlife between January and April. The nickname of this state is the Equality State. The state capital is Cheyenne, and the state is Wyoming. Wyoming. So my cigar walk tonight will actually be me and my buddy sitting next to Old Faithful, just waiting for the hot water and steam. But until then, back to Norwich for a few minutes, my old neighborhood of Jail Hill. My good longtime friend John Punch, we've been in contact with each other. He's the brother of the boy who made 2 trips to the emergency room in one day. He messaged me last night about an interesting memory. As kids, we used to help out the older neighbors on the hill. And people there literally lived well into their 80s, 90s, and even over 100 years old. I told you Harrison Carrington lived to be 104 years old. The gentleman that lived across the street from me. Anyway, it was a great melting pot of nationalities that lived there. John was telling a story of how a friend of ours, Mikey Langlois, a fun-loving, respectful, good kid, used to help out the older people in the neighborhood, but especially this one lady, Clara Gemino. Her husband had passed away, so Mikey would clean the yard, cut the grass, clean the basement, trim the trees. That's the kind of kids Jail Hill raised. Mikey, I remember the day, if you're listening, I remember the day that you came over the house to get some gas to cut the grass. And as you were running back up to your house, you tripped and fell, and the coffee can of gas went all over you, and you swallowed a gulp of gas. I remember you running and screaming back up to your house, "Mom, I swallowed some gas, I swallowed some gas." Later on in the evening, I went over to Mikey's house where he was fine. His mother took care of him as usual. Mikey said, "I had to drink 3 glasses of milk to get rid of the gas." I remember thinking as a kid, that's how you got rid of gas? I always thought there was only one way to get rid of gas, but I'll leave that alone for now. Johnny, thanks for the memory. Keep them coming. And just for the record, the elderly lady Clara was my very own Aunt Clara. It was like on Bewitched, Aunt Clara. She wasn't bewitched, though. She was a very nice lady, but she was my aunt, Aunt Clara. Now you know the rest of the story. The character trait for the month of June is integrity, which is the quality of being truthful, responsible, and accountable. Remember not to make promises that you can't keep, and always try to be the person that you say you are. Today is National Iced Tea Day. I love iced tea. Lots of people, including me, drink Arizona iced tea. Sadly, it's reportedly not particularly healthy for you because, well, it's reported to have no nutritional values. But it tastes so good. I'm planning on still drinking it. So, the word of the day is promise. Like I said earlier, the word means declaring that you will do something. Don't make promises that you can't keep. Make a promise that you'll try to do your best to do something. That's what I tell the kids at the school that I work with. Don't promise me you're going to do something. Promise me you're going to do your best to do it. And you can always keep your promise by doing your best. On this day in history, back in 1922, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz was born in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Her stage name was Judy Garland, but her birth name was Frances Ethel Gum. You know, I always wondered why people had to change their name to a stage name. I remember years ago at a school that I worked for, when I first got hired, my boss, Dave, told me I needed to change my age and my name. I understood raising my age because some of the kids that I was working with were almost the same age as me. But change my name? I asked him, why should I change my name? Even William Shakespeare said, "What's in a name?" Dave responded, "Who?" And I said, "William Shakespeare." He said, "You're going to listen to me? You're going to listen to your friends." That was a funny moment. I got to keep my name, and I stayed for 35 years. Hey, I guess it's a good thing that the Sundance Kid took on a different name. I mean, nobody would remember him as Harry Alonzo Longabar. That was his name before he took on the stage name Sundance Kid, actually criminal name. Anyway, that's the show for tonight. So until we meet again, let us all have a blessed, peaceful night, and let's be kind to one another. You never regret being kind. Again, and as always, you truly are quite special. The world would not be the same without you, so don't even think of leaving. The world, and especially the people right around you, need you very much. And that's a good thing. It's good to be needed. So good night, and may God bless.